It's about 10 minutes before midnight, but I hear a vehicle pulling up to the campsite right now. What's up, guys? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and the journey has finally begun. I'm pretty excited for this one for a few different reasons. One of them being, you guys requested that I buy a 3rd gen Tundra and kind of build it out and do my thing with it. Secondly, I think the reason you guys asked that is because the 3rd gen Tundra doesn't receive a ton of love from creators out there, kind of showing you the capabilities of it, how you can camp with it, and just like the overlanding scene in general. Generally leans towards the Tacoma, which makes perfect sense. I, of course, had my 3rd gen Tacoma, but because you guys requested this, I have built out this 2024 Tundra over the past month and a half, and now I am finally ready to test it out. Unfortunately, I'm alone for at least this first night of the trip, but over the next 6 days or so, as I'm heading down to Flagstaff, Arizona, I might have some friends join me along the way. So the truck is all set. I drove about maybe 3.5 hours. I'm kind of near western Colorado right now, and it's time for me to camp with this thing and show you guys how I have it all set up. Now, if you guys haven't caught the build out yet for wheels, tires, armor, lighting, suspension, wrap, racks, all that good stuff, you can check out the playlist in the corner. I mainly want to go over what I'm packing in this truck now that this is like a new build. Now, to be honest, not much has changed from previously. So up front, my camera gear, ride shotgun all the time. I have an old Jackery Explorer 240 here, and I'll charge this thing when I drive. This will power things like a diesel heater, which I don't even have on this trip. It's got USBs for a heated blanket. I can charge some camera stuff with a little AC outlet here, and this thing will generally be plenty good for what I need. Now, coming into the back door setup, I have not deleted the seats or anything like that, but this is where my new refrigerator is going to be living. I went and snagged some groceries so we can cook while we're on this trip, and this guy right here is going to get a full dedicated video at some point. But this is a new fridge offering from Iceco, and this is the APL 35. You guys may have caught my video on the APL 55 that I did last year, and there were some great things about that fridge, but also it's just massive. So to fit something like that in the back here, it's just a little overkill for me. This has plenty of space for food for me, 2 people, maybe even 4 people, depending on what you're packing. It's got a fridge section and a freezer section, and that thing is chugging along. This is the first time I've loaded it up, and hopefully that thing will stay running tonight. Before we get into the goods in the bed of the truck, I'll check out this side real quick. I've got a Vertex duffel bag full of clothing. I've got my alpaca camera bag down here with my computer, some chargers, my iPad, extra pair of shoes. And I have this fridge running off of a tiny little Iceco battery pack here, same thing that I ran the APL 55 off of, and that thing is plugged directly into AC, so that is charging and will stay charged while I'm driving the truck. That's it for the inside, nice and basic. Now for the bed loadout on this trip, I've kept things pretty damn simple. I even have a little bit of extra stuff that I normally wouldn't bring when I'm traveling far and fast, but this is a loadout right here. It's surprising to me how many people don't know this, but Tundras, and I think Tacomas too, have these little cutouts on the bedside. That way you can section off your bed. It's hard for me to show with all this gear in here right now, but essentially, since this is a 6.5 foot bed, I don't want a ton of stuff sliding all the way up towards the cab. So I actually cut a little 2x4 to fit. It's about 5 feet long, and it slides into those slots. That way all of my gear will not slide towards that end of the bed. That being said though, I have all of my gear strapped down with a single Diamondback ratchet strap. So I really shouldn't even have to worry about stuff sliding there, but I just did that for kind of like preventative measures. So if I pop this ratchet strap off, I can start pulling things out. First up, I have a giant roam box here with kind of like extracurricular stuff. Instead of having these items just kind of floating around the bed, I packed everything in here. So I have a big old bag of recovery gear. And in here I have jumper cables, a little tree saw, a couple soft shackles, a kinetic rope, some bungees, and just stuff to help me out in a pinch. It's always good to travel with recovery gear, and I've got enough stuff in here to get me out of most situations, I would say. I have a little Fantic tire inflator because I don't have onboard air with the Tundra yet. If you know someone who makes a specific mount for a twin air compressor for the double cab Tundra like this, let me know. There aren't many good options right now, and this thing would take forever to pump up all 4 37-inch tires, but this is just kind of like a fallback plan in case I do need to air down and then air back up. I've got one of my front runner chairs here because they pack down super small, so I'll get that thing set up for later. I've got a hose for my howl. Oh no, I never got propane. I have my howl campfire with me and I did not fill up that propane tank. There is a little bit left, so I might have a fire for a little bit tonight, but I'm gonna have to do that when I run through Grand Junction tomorrow. And then I've got a whole roll of paper towels, some trash bags, and then a Free Spirit Ready Light. So that's about all that I have in here. Again, this stuff is not super necessary for me other than the recovery gear, but that acts as a nice step to get up here on the tailgate. I also have a full slim case here filled with all of my kitchen gear. This is something that I've talked about for a while, but I wanted to consolidate all of my cooking items like a burner, pots, pans, forks, spoons, utensils, things like that, all into one case because this is really like the main thing I use when I'm camping. So I can leave all of this stuff packed up in here. I can pull this case out and have a full meal without digging through a bunch of different cases and stuff like that. So pretty stoked that I was able to get that dialed in. And then I have a rinse kit over here, the rinse kit cube for water. I have a Free Spirit wearable poncho, which I'll throw in the tent. And I have my one wheel. So pretty simple setup. There's not a whole lot going on here, and that's just the way that I like to travel. So time to set up this tent. Now, if you guys caught some of my previous videos, you will know that, of course, I'm still running with Free Spirit, local to Colorado company. I absolutely love their tents, and this one in particular, pretty sure I brought you guys a review of this when it was on my Tacoma before. This is the Free Spirit Evolution V2 Short. Now, the reason I chose this was because I'm very particular about my camping setup. I talked about it in the last video, how I don't like when tents are above cab height because you're sacrificing your aerodynamics, miles per gallon, and I think this is just overall a cleaner look. When I was working with Sherpa on designing this bed rack that works perfectly with the Diamondback, I picked these towers to make sure that they would sit exactly 9.5 inches below my cab height with the Grizzly Sherpa rack on here. So that's how I got the perfectly flush look on here. The tent mounts up with some hardware through the middle and then some brackets on the back end. So my MPGs were relatively unaffected, and I have a really nice tri-layer tent with all of the creature comfort amenities in here. Aircore mattress, all of their new bedding, and I know for a fact I'm going to sleep great in this thing tonight. We did have a little bit of rain off in the distance. I'm hoping that stays like 3 valleys over from where I'm currently camping. And did I mention all of the room in this tent? I can keep my full-size ladder in here, which is pretty rad. I've got an air pump, 2 pillows, 2 blankets right now. This thing is just super dialed.
Well, getting close to 7 o'clock, and luckily the sun is still out. It's gonna set over here somewhere, but we got a lot of cloud coverage, a little bit of snow and rain all around us, but luckily not here. So I'm gonna start to cook some dinner just for myself. But first, have you guys noticed this yet? This is the latest mod. I just installed this yesterday. It came just in time before I left. And I was asking you guys on Instagram, who makes an orange tailgate cover? I hate hopping up here, putting my knees on like the corrugated kind of material. It's not comfortable to sit on or kneel on or anything. And a few of you responded with this company right here, Billy Bars. Now, I've heard of Billy Bars in the past, and I knew they made these, but when I went to their website originally, I didn't see any option for orange, which I, of course, wanted to go along with the truck. It wasn't until I dove in a little bit further, I found out that they make custom ones, and this is so sick. Maybe a little bit over the top because it's so bright, but it just fits with the truck so well. So this is a complete custom tailgate cover. It actually goes on top of the stock existing cover under here, and it's made out of this like marine grade foam, so it doesn't have like a ton of give to it, but it is a lot more comfortable than just kneeling down on the corrugated material. It's hard to tell just how well this orange matches the actual orange that I use on wrapping all of my vehicles. It's this super bright orange, and this just fits so perfectly. So I found out that Billy Bars is actually a company from Pennsylvania, specifically like the Reading, Lancaster area. I'm not exactly sure where their headquarters is, but if you guys have been watching my channel from the beginning, you will know that I grew up there. So they must be manufacturing these really close to where I grew up, and that's super cool. I love supporting local companies, even though I'm not local to Pennsylvania anymore. They laser cut out my Psy logo in here, and I absolutely love this thing. So huge shout out to those guys for getting this done for me so quick before Overland Expo. There are also some little cup holder modules here, which I didn't cut out yet. You have to actually cut into the stock tailgate, and then you have an insert that drops in there. Once I find a Forstner bit that is big enough to do that, I'll get around to it, maybe. I'm not one to use cup holders, but it's a cool option. And if you guys are interested in getting one of these for yourself or a custom one, I'll leave a link for their stuff in the description down below. So let's see what's on the menu tonight. I've got stuff for myself and friends, mainly cooking for like a meal for 2 people. But since it's just me right now, I think we're gonna keep it fairly simple. I got a lot of fruit in here, got some ham, and I'm kind of feeling a grilled ham and cheese sandwich. So that's what we're gonna do. It's like a childhood meal for me. I remember eating them as a kid because they're really easy to make. And this might not be everyone's choice, but gotta have ketchup with it too. I think I have some warm butter in here. Should really find a better way to organize all my food. Bread, butter, ham, cheese, and ketchup. Now the weather is getting a little bit colder, but I checked it for this specific area, and it says it's only going down to about 40 or so tonight, so it shouldn't be too bad. At least there's no snow up here right now. But tomorrow, I believe Moab is on the agenda, and that's going to be very nice. It's generally quite a bit warmer in Moab because we're not up in this like higher elevation, so I'm looking forward to some warmer weather. Now, I am hyper organized when it comes to my kitchen stuff now, and I will show you guys all of this stuff eventually. Just not right now. I'm going to do a full kind of like review video of it. I've got all Sea to Summit titanium cookware now, which is expensive, but this stuff is very lightweight and hopefully very non-stick. I've got a Sea to Summit spatula over here. So let's cook some grilled cheeses. That is still pretty cold, even though it's in my truck. First up, regular old grilled cheese, just to warm up the pan. You just can't go wrong with grilled cheese. And now for the best part.
It's a little burnt on this side. This side looks better though. Grilled ham and cheese. Oh yeah. Not fancy, not expensive, but it's good. Hits the spot. And for dessert, strawberries. These even in season right now? Or were they grown in a lab? I don't know, but they're delicious. Well, I wasn't even done with dessert, but I gotta clean up now because we're getting rain, snow. Looks like there's snow off in this valley over here. This is all probably rain. I don't really want my stuff getting wet, so I'm gonna do this quick and hop in the tent. Oh, wow, it just got cold. So we're definitely getting some rain now, but judging by everything in the area, it should pass. I luckily parked just in this random position. No real rhyme or reason to it, and it's perfect because the wind is hitting the backside of the tent, and with the Evo, you have this little bit of an overhang here, so I can sit here with my feet out on the ladder, and I can stay dry and out of the rain while still having this pretty cool view here. So hopefully this passes pretty quickly, and then I'll check in with you guys once it does, or if it gets worse. So it's 8:30 now, and the rain is like off and on, and it doesn't really seem like it's going to stop. There's more rain coming down through this valley that I'm sitting in right now. So I'm going to try to hop out, brush my teeth, and get ready to sleep, I guess, even though it's so early. Because if it starts raining even harder than it is right now, it is going to suck trying to get out of the tent later. Oh man. Oh no. I'm out of propane. I'm almost out of toothpaste. Oh, it's cold. So here's a cool new little product from Free Spirit. It's a solar battery bank, which is great for, of course, powering tent lights. You can set this thing out in the sun and it will charge up, and then you can run your lights at night. You can charge your phone. It's got 2 USB-A ports, USB-C port, little lanyard, and a light on here as well. So if you need to hop out of the tent at night, you always got a flashlight with you too. I typically always have one in my pocket anyway, but pretty cool little product right there. So if you have a Free Spirit tent, it'd be a good accessory for you. Man, it is getting cold pretty quickly out there, but got a ton of blankets, included a heating blanket, so it should be all right. Now I'll give you guys a more in-depth look at the inside of this tent when it's not raining and windy outside, but pretty much the same as the last time I took a look at it. One really nice feature is a giant air vent on the roof, which would basically allow the air to come across and suck any hot air out. That's gonna be closed tonight. These air vents are gonna be closed tonight. And there is a ton of storage all over this thing, which is great. This is my first night in this specific tent, so I don't have a ton of stuff in here yet, but there are some things that I leave in here, like a phone charger. That way I'll always have that with me. I don't have to steal it out of my truck. And even a little air pump for the air core mattress. This thing intakes and exhausts, and you can flip this around. That way you can pump up the mattress or deflate the mattress. I really just have this in here to deflate the mattress. The air core with the memory foam will suck a lot of air into it, and generally I don't need to add any extra air to it unless you want it a little bit more firm. But this thing is a lifesaver when you're trying to close a tent. You simply put it up to the valve, you suck the air completely flat, and then it allows you to store all sorts of gear in here, like my ladder and even this pump too. So this thing is living in the tent for now. Down below me here we have the layers. So of course I have the heated blanket connected to my little Jackery right here. So I've got this thing on. Jackery is currently at 97%. And then I have this new Sherpa blanket. Tested one out before from Free Spirit, but they're really kind of like refining all of their bedding. So double-sided, kind of like raised quilt pattern on this. I think this is gonna keep me plenty warm tonight. If not, still have that wearable poncho. And then also some matching pillowcases. So nice and fleece on both sides. You can put any kind of pillow in here. I'm gonna do a little bit of photo editing right now. Some of the photos that I just took on this trip. And once again, we will hope this rain passes quickly. It's about 10 minutes before midnight and got some editing done. The wind and rain has stopped, but I hear a vehicle pulling up to the campsite right now. Who that is? A Sodden! You can almost see the Aurora Borealis with all these clouds up here. Sam made it.
Hi.
I'm not solo camping anymore.
Yeah, thank God.
Alright, well, now that Sam's here, that means this trip is going to be a lot more fun tomorrow because I won't be by myself. We're going to be doing some off-roading and, again, probably heading to Moab. Nicer weather, kind of cooler camp spots than in this just easy one that I came to tonight. And I'm stoked for it. So we're going to pick up in the morning tomorrow. So if you guys are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe and make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.